Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Gopi Chana Vallabha Girivaradari Jaya Gopi Chana Vallabha Girivaradari Yashodanandana Vrajajana Ranjana Yashodanandana Vrajajana Ranjana Yamuna Tira Vanachari Yamuna Tira Vanachari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradari Jaya Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradari Yashodanandana Vrajajana Ranjana Yashodanandana Vrajajana Ranjana Yamuna Tira Vanachari Yamuna Tira Vanachari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradari Jaya Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradari Yashodanandana Vrajajana Ranjana Yashodanandana Vrajajana Ranjana Yamuna Tira Vanachari Yamuna Tira Vanachari Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Krishna Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Oh Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Jaya Prabhupada. Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Jaya Prabhupada, 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 Srila Prabhupada. Prabhupada, 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 Jaya Prabhupada. Jayam Vishnupada Paramahamsa Apata Sattashata Shishamad A.C. Bhakti-vedanta Swami Maharaj Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. ISKCON founder BBT, founder Charya, Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Jayam Vishnupada Paramahamsa Pavikacharya Asatata Satta Shishamad Bhakti-vedanta Saraswati Goswami Maharaj Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Ananta Koti Vaishnava Vrinda Ki Jai. Namacharya Srila Haridas Thakur Ki Jai. Prem Sakho Shri Krishna Chaitanya. Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shiva Asari Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Ki Jai. Shri Shri Radha Krishna Gopa Gopinath Shama Kun Radha Kuna Giri Govardhan Ki Jai. Shri Mayapur Dham Ki Jai. Shri Vrindavan Dham Ki Jai. Ganga Maya Ki Jai. Yamuna Maya Ki Jai. Tulsi Devi Ki Jai, Bhakti Devi Ki Jai, Shri Harinam Sankirtan Ki Jai, Samaveta Bhakta Vrinda Ki Jai, Varapamanande, Hari Hari Bo. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the lotus feet of Sri Sri Guru and Gauranga. Hare Krishna devotees. Welcome to the Bhagavad-Gita class. And we are in the beginning of chapter 13, and tonight we'll be discussing verse 4. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Tat kṣetraṁ yad-vikāri yad-vikāri yataś yat satayo yat-prabhāvaś tat samāsena me śṛṇu tat kṣetraṁ yad-vikāri yad-vikāri yataś yat satayo yat-prabhāvaś tat samāsena me śṛṇu tat kṣetraṁ yādṛk yad-vikāri yataś yat satayo yat-prabhāvaś tat samāsena me śṛṇu. Devotees. Tat samāsena me śṛṇu tat kṣetraṁ yādṛk yad-vikāri yataś yat tat kṣetraṁ yādṛk tat samāsena, tat kṣetraṁ yādṛk yad-vikāri yataś yat satayo yat-prabhāvaś. Word for word, tat, that. Kṣetraṁ, field of activities. Yat, what? Cha, also. Yādṛk, as it is. Cha, also. Yat, having what? Vikāri, changes. Yataḥ, from which? Cha, also. Yat, what? Sa, he. Cha, also. Ya, who? Yat, having what? Prabhāvaḥ, influence, chai, ta, also, tat, that, samāsena, in summary, me, from me, śṛṇu, understand. Translation and purports by His very divine grace, A.C. Bhakti-Vedanta Śrīla Prabhupada Ki Jai. Now, please hear my brief description of this field of activity and how it is constituted, what its changes are, whence it is produced, who that know of the field of activities is, and what his influences are. Please repeat. Now please hear my brief description of this field of activity and how it is constituted, what its changes are, whence it is produced, who the knower of the field of activities is, and what his influences are. Om Gena Tamaranda Shah Gana Gana Salakaya Taksumali Tamena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobhistam Stapi Tamena Bhutale Swarupa Paramayam Tadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuta Parakamalam Shri Gurum Vaisavamscha Shri Rupam Sagujatam Sahagana Ragunatam Vitam Stam Sajivam Savadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Paran Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakampatamscha E Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dina Bandhu Jagapate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vishwabhanu Sutadevi Pranamami Hari Priye Vancha Kapya Sarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubi Evata Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavyo Namo Namaha Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shri Vasari Gaura Bhakta-vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. So this chapter 13 is entitled Nature, the Enjoyer, and Consciousness. So this section of the Gita, this is the third section. The first section is bhakti-yoga. Karma yoga. That's chapters 1 through 6. That's the first part of the Gita. And then part 2 is entitled bhakti-yoga, and that's chapter 7 through 12. So this is the third section, and Krishna is describing jnana mixed with bhakti. But he's indirectly showing Kevala bhakti, and Kevala bhakti is that bhakti that's not mixed with jnana or karma yoga. And so he's showing Kevala bhakti to be supreme. So in the beginning, Arjuna is asking 6 questions. And the questions are, you tell me, what are the 6 questions? What are the 6 questions that Arjuna is asking? Arjuna is representing us. We're the living entities, because Arjuna we know is a pure devotee. But Krishna is instructing him, which is instructing all of the living entities, in the human bodies, instructing us, to understand this whole process. So Does anybody know what the 6 questions are? Nobody? Okay. The 6 questions that he's asking are, what is Prakriti? And Prakriti is material nature. He's asking about the Purusha, the enjoyer. He's asking about kṣetraṁ, the field. This is the field of activities. That's what he's talking about, the field. And then kṣetra-gyan, the knower of the field. He's asking about jnanam, which is knowledge. And then the last thing he's inquiring about is geyam, which is who's the object of knowledge. So in this 13th chapter, Krishna is giving an analytical knowledge of the body, the jīva, the Paramatma, and Prakriti. So briefly, in the previous verse, Krishna describes the body as the kshetra, or field of activity. Kṣetra-gyan is the soul, or the knower of the body. The second kṣetra-gyan is Krishna as the knower of the field. So there are 2 knowers of the field in the body. One is the soul, the jīva soul, the living entity, and the other one is Krishna, who's in every single living entity's body. So Krishna comes with us in our journey through this material world and through the wheel of samsara, birth and death. Krishna is always there with us. So we can ask the questions like, okay, so the differences in the living entities. Why is one born in a rich family, or why is someone born as a hog, or born as a demigod, or a snake? You know, why is one born as a tree? So how many species of life are there in the material world? Every devotee should know that one. How many? Huh? 8,400 million. So to break it down, I was listening to Srila Prabhupada give a lecture. So there's 900,000 aquatic living entities. There's 1 million birds. There's 2 million types of trees. There's 1.1 million insects. And there's 400,000, I missed the animal bodies, there's 3 million animal bodies. And then there's 400,000 human bodies. So how are all these bodies working, and why are there so many different bodies? I remember when I was young, we used to watch a program by, I don't know if anybody here has heard of, but his name was Jacques Cousteau. He was a French explorer. He would explore the oceans. He would go down in the depths of the ocean. He was a diver. And he would go down to the depths of the ocean and discover so many strange-looking aquatics down the bottom. And it was so dark down there, they had to take a light down there. And I would always wonder what type of body a person takes to be down, all the way down in the bottom of the ocean, to be down in the bottom of the ocean. You know, there's no light down there. Not only are you in the bottom of the ocean, But it's very, very dark down there. And you see so many strange types. I don't know if anybody else has wondered, but sometimes I wonder when I see, like a certain type of animal body or something, what was the person's karma and desires to give them a certain type of body? So why are there so many different forms or varieties of living entities? The material nature, she's manufactured so many different types of bodies, and no two bodies are equal in every respect. Even amongst devotees, you see devotees are so individual. Each devotee has such a different personality. When we're interacting with devotees, we can see that devotees are totally different personalities. Nobody's alike, everybody's different. So all the living entities are not of the same quality, and because they're in touch with the three modes of material nature, in different combinations of the modes of material nature. So, and we ourselves have created these bodies. We had certain desires, and so because of those desires, we come back in a certain kind of body. And so we are mistakenly identifying ourselves as this body. We think of ourselves as a man or a woman, as black or white, as Asian or Russian or Indian or this or that. We've compartmentalized ourselves into different types of bodies. And that's what we identify with all the time. But we all know that we're not the bodies. And in fact, we are all prakriti, all of us. We are not the enjoyers. We are to be enjoyed by Krishna. We are to give pleasure to Krishna. So the living entities, they enter different types of bodies according to their desires and karma. I heard a lecture recently by Srila Prabhupada, and he called these desires, which bring the living entity back again and again into this cycle. If you've ever seen, I don't know if you know what a Ferris wheel is. You go to a fair, and there's this huge machine. It's a huge machine that has seats in it. And if you've never been to a fair, in the US we have fairs all the time. You sit in the seat and you just go up. People just want to have some kind of thrill. So now the machines that you go on in the fair are different types of machines. So the living entity gets some kind of thrill out of it. I don't know what that is, but I went one time and it just gave me a headache. But you go up and sometimes they stop the wheel. It's a huge machine, and you sit in the chair and it goes around, and you keep going around and around and around. So this is the living entity. We're going around and around and around and around and around, up and down, up and down. One time we come, we're a king. One time we come, we're a dog. Sometimes we come back, we're a cat. We just come back, keep coming back in this repetition of birth and death. So Prabhupada said, he called these desires which bring the living entity again and again into the material world as varieties of insanity. He said the brain is not in order. We're deranged. Deranged means we're a little bit crazy to keep wanting to come back again and again, and having all these different desires to fulfill. And I understand from reading the scriptures that if we have a pinch of material desire, we have to come back. Even if we say something like, oh, I wish I had that, or I wish, or that would be nice to do. If we say that, even while we're practicing Krishna consciousness, then we have to come back to do that thing. We have to come back to fulfill that little teeny little desire that we have. We have to come back to the material world so we can get that desire out of our system. And Krishna is so kind, then, he approves, he sanctions what the desires that we have. But he just comes with us, So there's so many different types of living entities. We can see, how, take the body of a hog. We can look and say it's such a horrific type of body to take, and eating stool. But the hog is so happy. He's so content. He's happy to be doing that. And living entities, they want to eat meat. So meat actually are corpses. They're dead. They're corpses. So the vulture, the vulture, he wants to eat a corpse. So that living entity gets the body of a vulture. And he can spot a corpse at least a mile away. He has such keen eyesight that he can see a corpse from high in the sky. He can see a corpse from a mile away. So those living entities who are eating meat, they're eating corpses. Dead matter. They're eating dead matter. So they can get the body of a vulture if that's what they want to eat. Or you get the body of a tiger if you want to eat meat. You get the body of a tiger. And also this whole craze that's going on, mostly in America, but I see it's coming to India as well, this attachment to dogs. So much attachment to having a dog. You see people kissing dogs. You see people sleeping with dogs. Is that not madness? That's madness. They dress them. They dress the dogs in clothes. They buy clothes for the dogs. I'm not denigrating those living entities who are in the body of dogs. We as devotees understand, and we can give them kṣetraṁ, which maybe help them get another body. But this whole craze of being in love with dogs is actually there was a word I was thinking about. And if you're attached to the dog, then you'll come back in a dog's body. There's no discrimination in the relationship between the person and the dog. So due to our fruitive work in the material world, we create karma. So then we continue to transmigrate from one body to another body to another body. And all the forms of life in this material world are trying to make their life secure. In an insecure and continually changing material environment, struggling for existence. And the Lord, He's engaging everyone in certain activities by reminding him of his past activities. Sarvasya jaham hirisanavishta mata smatir jnanam apohanam cha. I am seated in everyone's heart, and from me come remembrance, knowledge, and forgetfulness. So we're the wanderers. We're wandering in, and Krishna is the witness. In the Gita, I think it's in chapter 5, I'm not sure, but Krishna accompanies us in the craziness we're trying to extract and squeeze out some enjoyment in this material environment, to try to find happiness, to try to be the enjoyer, to try to be the controller of material nature. We want to be the controller, we want to be the enjoyer. And essentially, the living entity wanted to be God. That's why we all have this material body. And if we have this material body, it means we're all criminals. We wanted to enjoy. So we have this body. So it is described in the scriptures that both souls in the body, the small individual soul and the Supersoul, are like two birds sitting in a tree. And one bird is seeking pleasure from the tree, eating different kinds of fruit, while the Supersoul, Krishna, sits on the same branch, waiting for us to turn our face to him, waiting for us to turn our face to him. So we become really mad after material enjoyment, flying from one tree to another, from one body to another. And Krishna goes with us, witnessing our plight. But Krishna's not going to interfere with our free will, our minute independence. Only Krishna is fully independent. But we have minute independence, which we are misusing. So we are all actually Prakriti, trying to take the role of Purusha and enjoy our senses through this material nature. So the Lord Krishna, he's actually the proprietor of our bodies. He's the owner. It's the example Prabhupada gave. It's like we can rent an apartment, we can rent a flat, but that apartment that we're in doesn't belong to us. There's the landlord, the proprietor of that apartment. He's the one that owns. So it's like that. Krishna is the owner. And we're only using the body. So we're just renting this body for a certain amount of time until it deteriorates. And it will deteriorate. We all know that. As we get older, we can feel it. It's deteriorating. It's like the example of a car. The minute you buy a car, whether it's new or not, the minute you drive it off the lot, it becomes, it starts depreciating. And the more you drive it, the more you have to have repairs done. It's like people now are getting like knee, what do they call it? Knee surgery, knee replacements. My brother, he just got a knee replacement. He just got a hip replacement. So because we're in this material nature, our body is going to decline, whether we're healthy now or not, eventually. And even you see a lot of young people also, they have problems with their body. They're sick, or they have cancer, or they have certain diseases. The body is meant to deteriorate. It's not meant to last forever. So it's going to deteriorate. You know, like the car, the engine starts having problems, the transmission starts going, you have to put oil in it, you have to do so many things to keep it going, and it's the same way as we stay longer in the body. And the only real use, good use for this body, the reason we have the human body, it's a rare body, is so that we can serve the Lord, so we can inquire. The body, human body, is to inquire. So in the human body, we have the ability to ask about the purpose of having the body. Why are we? Atato Brahma Jigyasha. Now is the time to inquire about the absolute truth. So the human form of life is meant for this purpose. So that's why the Vedanta Sutra very concisely explains the human mission. And the human mission, especially for devotees who have come to this process, the mission is not just to save ourselves, but to try to help everyone. We see how the temple is growing like mad. So much preaching is going on, and people are so happy. The devotees who are here continuously and doing service, sometimes it gets a little bit disturbing that there's so many people coming, but Prabhupada must be very happy that the temple is becoming so crowded, that the temple is doing so much preaching. Look how much, maybe 5 months ago, 4 months ago, they were only distributing maybe 9,000 leaf cups of prasadam. Now look how many they're distributing, 25,000. That's a lot. The book distribution is going. So this is the opportunity for the devotees who regularly stay here to try to preach to these souls that Krishna is bringing. You know, he's bringing these people to come to the temple so that we can preach to them. So the preaching is going on nicely, because it used to be that it was just crowded during the weekends, but now it's every day, every evening. So many souls are coming to take shelter, even if they don't know it themselves, you know. They're coming to the temple. So not a blade of grass moves without the sanction of Krishna. So when we inquire about what is the use, why we have this body, what is our duty, you know, that's the beginning of knowledge. So also we all have so many desires, and desires cannot be stopped. We need to purify our desires. Anya bilashita sunyam jnana karmayana vitam anukoyena krishnanam silanam bhaktir uttama. So we need to purify ourselves. This process is for our purification, to purify our hearts. That's why we're chanting. So we can become cleansed of material desires and only desire the pleasure of Krishna. That's why we're chanting. That's why Srila Prabhupada gave us this process, to purify our desires, to bring us back to our original position. You know, to want to serve the Lord again, to be back in his association. He's not asking much from us. He's just asking us, he's Krishna. He's the Supreme Personality of Godhead. He doesn't have to ask us for, just bring me a little leaf, bring me a little water, bring me a flower. What does he need with it? He doesn't need anything. But he's asking us. That means we don't have to take much trouble. Of course, if you have a lot of money, you should take a lot of trouble. But anybody can go get a leaf off the tree. Anybody can pick a flower off the tree and offer it to Krishna. He's not asking for much, and he's so kind that he's with us all the time. So we can't hide ourselves. It's said in the introduction to the Gita that Krishna follows the psychic movement of every living entity. He knows what you're thinking. He knows everything. So just be yourself and try to chant nicely, chant inoffensively, and try to purify ourselves in this process that has been so kindly. He's been so kind to give to us so that we can come back home. He wants us to be home more than we want to be. We want to stay in the material world. We're attached to this body. So we are Brahman. But now we're Jīva Bhuta. We're conditioned living entities. So when we have to go beyond identifying with this material body, because we're not the body. And so when we go beyond identifying with the body and engage in Krishna consciousness, we become liberated. And actually, when we actually do devotional service, we are liberated from the material energy. We've come under the shelter of Krishna, of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So Krishna said in this verse, he says, Tat samāsena me śṛṇu. Just hear from me, understand what I'm trying to tell you. He's doing this analytical study so we can thoroughly understand the whole process. But in the end analysis is, what's the end? What's the end analysis? The end is, what's the verse about surrendering to Krishna? He says that at the end of most of the chapters, just become my devotee. Just worship me. Do not fear. Just come to me. No. So we need to receive the knowledge from the Supreme Lord, who existed before the material creation. And there's no more superior knowledge than hearing from Krishna or his bona fide representative, which is the spiritual master. So that's why Srila Prabhupada set up this program. In the morning, we go to Mangal Arati, and we are singing about the spiritual master. We go to Guru Puja, Guru Vandanam, we're singing about the spiritual master. We go to Bhagavatam class, we're hearing Krishna Katha. We come to the Gita class, we're hearing Krishna Katha. So we hear, we chant, we come to the temple, we offer service. This is the purifying process, and we chant. All the 9 processes are there. The most important one is to hear. We have to hear about Krishna all the time. And the classes, the Srimad Bhagavatam classes, are very beautiful. So now we're in this section about Akrura, who went to bring Krishna and Balaram to Kamsa. But he was so excited to go because he was thinking, I get to see Krishna and Balaram, I get their audience. I'm so excited. And Kamsa only offered him a new chariot, but he only offered it because he thought Akrura would be impressed by the chariot, but he wasn't. Akrura was thinking about, it should be a new chariot because I'm going to pick up Krishna Balaram. And so we just finished also the prayers, the vision that Akrura saw, and his prayers, which are so beautiful. So we're not lacking in the process. Everything is in the holy name as well. I've heard it said sometimes that Prabhupada hasn't given us everything, but Prabhupada gave us everything from A to Z about how to go back home, back to Godhead. There's nothing missing. All of Krishna's pastimes, too, are in the holy name. We just have to chant it purely in order to understand that. But since everyone's here hearing, you're all pure devotees. And the ladies are over there doing devotional service. Yes, everyone, because you're hearing. We're in the process. If you're in the shower, what can be the criticism? We're trying, we're all trying. And Krishna, one of the descriptions of Krishna is that he's grateful. Why does Krishna have to be grateful? We're the criminals, but Krishna is grateful. It's so sweet. What kind of a master do we have? So I want to end it here on that note, and if there are any questions, corrections, please let me know. Any additions, any realizations. What time is it? I can't see from here. Huh? I can hear you. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna, Mataji. Thank you very much, Mataji, for your class. I'm just adding this comment on this dogs, that why people are keeping dogs. Prabhupada, I heard from Prabhupada lecture only, because there's a tendency of loving. We want to love somebody and we want in reciprocation of love. When people doesn't know that ultimate love, the object of love is Krishna. Yes. You understand? Or? Yes. Yeah. So that's why they keep dogs, because they don't have people around them. As soon as they advance, or let us say people are getting advanced, there is no family, there are not people living together. So they are living alone, most of the, this is many people. So that's why they keep dogs, because they want to love somebody. Yes. And dogs, like they are very expert in reciprocation of love. So this is what Prabhupada was saying in one lecture. So if they don't have anybody to be loved, so they love dogs.
Yes, they take dogs or cats.
They take dogs.
Or cats.
And dogs are very expert. When you come in home, then they raise and then they jump on you.
Yes, but still, it means that it's misplaced love.
Yeah, this is not properly placed love. Yeah.
No, so even we need to preach to those people with dogs. I was just reading a book by Guru Das, Yamuna's husband. And when they all came to the movement, even the Mother Mahadevi the other night said she also had a dog. So Guru Das also had a dog. They had dogs. But when they found Srila Prabhupada, when Prabhupada gave them that love they were searching for, and he asked them, not to bring the dog in the house or whatever, but they let the dogs go because they found that love that they were looking for. And it's natural. The human being wants to love. It's a natural. But who to love? Who do we love? Who to love? Even feelings of loneliness or anxiety. We need to connect with the Lord and talk to Him like a person, because we've all had instances when Krishna has acted in our life, and that means we've all had instances when Krishna has shown that He's in your life. He, does something that lets you know He's there for me. He's there for me. I see it. He's done so many things, and you're like, that was Krishna. So He's a person. He's there. Thank you so much for your comment. Anyone else? Thank you so much for your kind attention. Hare Krishna.